Hey, everybody, welcome to Modern Solutions for Modern Restaurants. This is Paul Molinari with Popcorn GTM. And today I'm talking with a good friend of mine, Manan Mehta, who is the co founder and CEO of Livelytics. And they are a platform that's turning restaurant data into real time intelligence. But before we get into real time intelligence, Manan, let's just both understand that there is a very high probability right now that my beloved New England Patriots are going to be meeting your upstart, scrappy Houston Texan group
Hey.
probably in the first round.
Yeah, it's a huge probability. Well, pretty excited, man. Five in a row. That's never happened in Texans history. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully we get past the first round of playoffs.
Well, hopefully you don't, because you're probably going to be meeting us. but uh, but
Well,
that's okay. I dig it. You know what? If the
well, the way
Patriots
we are
can't
playing,
proceed,
you never know.
that's
We've
right.
beaten every top tier team, this year, so it's exciting.
It
Good
is. It's.
stuff.
I like what Houston's doing.
Yeah.
Well, so what we're talking about today, and I'm glad that you're on again because what you guys are doing is kind of revolutionary. I know that's a word that people throw out there a lot, but the reality is that this your solution, um, data driven dashboards, are kind of, I think, turning the industry onto something that hasn't been able to be hasn't was not previously achievable before. You
Right.
know, these dashboards, instead of just telling you what happened, Livelytics is basically telling operators what to do next. Finding the labor inefficiencies, the revenue leakage, the operational anomalies before they
Right.
become costly problems.
Sure.
So today, good listeners, we're going to unpack what data intelligence really means for restaurants and why it's becoming really a competitive advantage. So let's dive into it, my friend.
No, of course. Again, man, thanks a lot for having me back on your show. Always exciting to be here. So appreciate that. Talking about data intelligence, right? That's the most
Yeah,
that's the key word. That's the hype word. On AI, that's
data
another word
intelligence.
as well. So when we really talk about, data intelligence, we are talking about moving, from information to action, right?
Yeah,
So traditional dashboards will tell you what happened, right? But AI intelligence powered analytic platforms like Livelytics will actually tell you what to do next. That's where the whole model of AI positioning or modeling is going. So most of the BI tools that are out there, so a lot of restaurant owners are using, BI for their analytics, but most of these BI tools are static, right? So they will show you charts, they'll show you KPIs, but that's all after the fact. That's
right.
on historical data. So what Livelytics does, it goes a step further. So we combine our AI modeling, of course, predictive modeling, which is huge with the LLMs, and analytics to actually recommend actions. So whether that's like by adjusting labor hours or just optimizing menu pricing. So instead of the operators spending time analyzing data,
Yep.
operators are spending time acting on insights, right? So that's the key difference, and that's the key shift. So from dashboard to intelligence.
Yeah, dashboards to intelligence. Again, I think that key feature there is dashboards. When you think of dashboards, they're static, whereas these new intelligent dashboards are making these prescriptive recommendations. So one of the things that has always fascinated me about about data intelligence and where AI is going in
Mhm.
the restaurant stack is that it seems to me that there are so many restaurant teams that struggle to connect their data across systems. You have a POS system, a labor, inventory, loyalty. What makes Livelytics able to do it differently?
Sure, absolutely. So that's exactly what we are here to solve, right? So the restaurant tech stack today, as you mentioned, is very fragmented. So they have
Yep.
POS, they have labor, they have inventory, they have back office, they have loyalty, they have accounting. Every system lives in its own silos, right? That's what we call it. So they have their own data, they have their own reports, The operators or even the executives are logging into six different systems and pulling different reports. But that's what we have done. There's never a challenge. Is There's never been the lack of data. The challenge is the lack of connections. That is what we call it. So what we have done with Livelytics is we have solved that problem. So we connected with over 650 plus, system solution that includes, POS systems. Like I'll give some examples like Aloha, Micros, NCR, accounting systems like QuickBooks, NetSuite, HR payroll solutions like ADP, scheduling solutions like Seven Shifts,
Wow.
enterprise back office like Restaurant 365, Crunch Time, MarketMan. So all of these, different companies have different data. So what we have done is we bring everything together in our unified layer. So once the data lives in our unified layer, our AI can finally, start connecting the dots, across multiple different departments. And the best part is show you a very clear and, under a dashboard reporting, which includes analytics, recommendation, and anomaly detection.
Wow. And so, this idea of bringing all of these integrations together, all of these systems together, we always hear the term single pane of glass. Um, that that's remarkable because, as we all know, with these a data intelligence platform is really only as strong as its weakest connection, right? So having 650 plus integrations kind of all ready to roll, that's amazing. Uh, let's talk about some of the problems though that that kind of intelligence solves. When you talk to operators, what are the most common unknowns that surprise them once they start using Livelytics?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So unknowns, blind spots, we look at
Yeah.
these all day, every day when we talk to, multi-unit operators. So I would usually, segment them into three different ones. So let's say the most important one, right? The most critical one is the labor inefficiencies. The
Okay.
second one is revenue leakage, and the third one is the operational anomalies. So when you talk about labor inefficiencies, so too many or too few people are scheduled, based on historical data, not on current data. We see that all the time.
Right.
Revenue leakages, as in, missed modifiers, a ton of void abuses, or just simply pricing mismatches that cost thousands of dollars that, the operators don't get to see that unless they run their, monthly or quarterly reports.
Mm.
And the third most important thing as well is operational anomalies, right? So like any unexpected drop in average ticket at one store, or the supplier overcharging for a key ingredient, so that's what Livetic surfaces. So they surface in our anomaly detection, reports that we bring on. We alert the managers, before it becomes expensive problems, as you mentioned in your opening, comment. So think of AI Livetic as your AI co-pilot that's like scanning your business 24/7, 365.
Right. Yeah, and I think the key to that, what you just mentioned too, is that anomaly detection, right? It's bringing forth something that just doesn't make sense that might need attention right away. Is that generally done only through the dashboard? Or is that also like a live alert that can be set up? Right.
It's a alert monitoring system as well. So a live alert can be set up too. So it either can go, an email can be generated and sent to the district manager or the manager, or they can always log in and get those alerts, initially when they first log into our system, depending on the user access.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but I'm just curious when we talk about these alerts and in analytics for restaurants, there are so many different stakeholders here, not just not just the different disciplines inside of the C-suite, but the stores themselves. So you need to make something that is accessible, right? That you know the average person can look at this information and understand what's going on.
Right.
Critically important. So when I think about reports, my God, like restaurants have, there's no shortage of data with
Good.
restaurants.
Mhm.
There's plenty of reports.
Right.
But why do they still miss what's actually hurting performance? Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
where are these reports kind of falling short?
Yep. So again, back to the point, reports will tell you what happened, right? But they rarely tell you what actually matters. That's the whole point about the AI solution that we bring on. All the reports are static. So again, it's not the lack of data, as we have our slogan change, it's the lack of clarity. So that is the most important thing over here.
Okay.
So when you realistically, yeah, you can have the most amazing analytics or something, but if a general manager cannot understand that within the first 10 to 15 seconds,
Right.
then it will never drive action. So that's what you're looking for, right? So most tools overwhelm teams with charts and KPIs, but Lilytics gives them one clear takeaway. So that is what it is. So when a GM logs in or he gets an alert, so here is the issue and here is what to do next. So that is important for any general manager to turn analytics into something that operations can actually use on a daily basis. And it's not just something corporate reviews it on a monthly, on a quarterly basis. So again, that's what powerful um, insights only matter if they're easy to understand and easy to act on.
All right. So that's actually a good segue, right? When we talk about action, because the promise of AI is extremely prescriptive, like you've been talking about. So maybe
Right.
you can kind of describe for me what are the types of measurable results that you've been seeing with brands that have been using Livelytics so far. I mean, where have some brands like gained real traction?
Sure, absolutely. So, I mentioned these two or three use cases all the time, and
Hmm.
these are my favorite ones because we have helped them save, hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally. So, obviously, we can't mention the name of the store, but there's a multi-unit operator chain that our labor models just it was very easy. So our labor models, suggested trimming two mid-shift hours per location, so not cutting staff, not
Yep.
changing the patterns, nothing. So just by realigning schedule based on the guest traffic. So we saw the traffic, we saw the schedules, and we just told them, hey, just realign your scheduling for the mid-level to mid-level hours or mid-shift hours. By just doing that, this chain saved close to $250,000 annually. So I'm not kidding. It's over $250,000 they saved in annually, while keeping the same guest experience. So nothing changed on the guest experience
Right.
side of things, but
Right.
obviously, they gained $250,000. Another restaurant chain, a multi-unit brand that we saw, is there were declining margins, and they couldn't figure out it. They couldn't pinpoint why that was happening. So, our anomaly detection figured out that one of the regions, for that chain, was having higher food cost. Because a key ingredient, the vendor for the key ingredient had gone up on the price. And they have changed the vendor recently as well. So within a week, we gave them this anomaly. They fixed their purchasing process. Obviously, they renegotiated the cost price and recovered nearly almost 80 to 90,000 dollars on a quarterly basis.
That's so that's amazing. When you yeah, so you can see very quickly how um, a product like Liveletics, a data intelligence platform, again, that integrates all of these different systems
Yeah.
into, for all intents and purposes, a recommendation, an analytical recommend decision making engine.
Yep. And
This the
I
payback on this has got to be pretty quick because I'd imagine that once it's all set up and it's all integrated, and you start seeing the gaps, the holes that can be filled pretty quickly. I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, and just recently, literally as of last week, there was a really cool anomaly that actually came up. So I would love to talk about that as well. So
Yeah.
one of our systems, flagged an anomaly at one particular store. So this was pretty cool. That what our LLMs can do, this far in the States. So one of the stores voids and discounts suddenly spiked between 8 to 10 p.m. So, the closing hours, right? During just a 3 day period. Again, nothing the POS reported, made it obviously. But
Right.
when our AI compared, the store patterns with its normal behavior and the rest of the chain, it saw something was off. So Live alert mechanism pushed an alert out to the district manager. The district manager, in turn, checked the cameras for that particular location and found a shift level theft pattern. So, again, that is very critical, right? So, this pattern would have never gone noticed, for weeks or even for months. But just within 3 days, our anomaly detection pattern generator could see the pattern, could see the change, and could pinpoint the anomaly. So this was a very cool use case that we just recently came out just last week.
And you're saying this is with cameras, so this is with like what computer vision system that it's being plugged into the. I mean, that's
Not computer vision. We just showed them the anomaly that hey, something is not right.
ah,
So he then went ahead and looked at the camera and done it. But yeah, we have had several requests from some camera integrators as well to integrate with them, so we can even pinpoint the camera vision solution with our anomaly detection. So
oh man,
we are working with few partners to enable and implement that.
that's phenomenal. Um, there was a question that I was thinking about that I wanted to answer you with regard to how do I say this? There's so much happening with AI, right? You just mentioned computer vision for crying out loud,
Mhm.
which is, but how do you know, from your perspective, what's real and what's hype when it comes to restaurant analytics? I mean, I feel like there's a there's this misconception out there that somehow AI is going to replace humans. I mean, is that where do you see where do you come out on that debate?
Yeah, so that that is the biggest misconception, right? That AI is here to replace humans. It's actually not here to replace humans, it's actually here to amplify them. So that's the main point about it. So operators, usually think AI is very complex and very intimidating. But again, in reality, it's like having a data scientist or a team working beside you every single day, like spotting issues, surfacing patterns, and suggesting what to do next. So, that's the number one misconception. Again, it's going to replace humans, it's going to take away our jobs, but that's not the case. It is
No, if
actually
anything, it
going to
might. I almost look at it as a way to upskill people,
correct, correct. And
right?
the second biggest misconception of AI is it requires a massive data science team and
Right.
months or years of data or programming, capabilities to actually come up with a viable solution. And that's the exact reason why we came up with this idea, why we came up with this platform. So obviously it took us almost a year and a half, to build this platform, an AI first intelligent platform, a complete end-to-end solution. So, the restaurant, operators or even the chain stores, they don't need to come up with a massive investment and a data science team and do everything themselves. Livelytics is a complete end-to-end solution provider. Our platform is already live. It's ready. It's already baked and ready to go. So that's
Yes,
what I
you
love
are
to
you are
call
ahead
it,
of the
right?
game. I
Yeah,
will verify that.
yeah. So
Being in this space and doing what I do and the amount of reading and research, you guys, without question, are ahead of the game, and good for you.
yeah,
Uh,
so again, if
definitely
you
have the.
partner, yeah, if you partner with us, you'll start seeing results within weeks, not months, because of our, so many different types of integrators that we already have, set up.
All right, let's go back to this idea though of the best technology is the technologies that's used, right? I mean, we all know that restaurants sometimes, they'll get very excited about a new technology, and then they it turns into dreaded shelfware because people aren't using it. So, how do you make sure a tool like Livelitics doesn't just live with the CFO or the COO? The perhaps analytically driven exploration mind of those types of individuals, but actually gets used by GMs and store managers and marketers for that matter.
No, absolutely. So that's specifically why we designed Liveletics is for non-analyst, right? Non-data analyst, non-analyst. So a couple of things that we designed. So we have a phenomenal generative AI conversational system or model that's available on our dashboard as well. So anybody can simply ask a very simple question. So let's say, for example, why were my sales down yesterday? And our AI, our Gen AI, very similar to Chat GPT, but that's open source. This is a closed source system where it will actually read your data and it will give you answers in a logical and a simpler manner and in a conversational answers. So our platform uses natural guided language interfaces and role-based dashboards, right? So as you mentioned, each different departments can see their own recommendation analysis and anomalies. So, yeah, from the finance team, will show you, we'll see the cost trends. The operations team sees performance matrix. Your marketing team will see customer behavior, customer retention,
Check on
lapsed customer,
LTO
all sorts of
performance.
things.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and that is from the same data. So there's no different systems what they're logging in. Everybody has the same login. Obviously, is user base. So the C-suite will see all the reports. Throughout the chain. Throughout the franchisees, the franchisor, etc., and drill down to the GM level as well. So the GM will be able to see its own reports. Obviously, not seeing what the other stores are doing, but similarly with district managers or even franchisees. So you wouldn't believe the statistics if I share with you. So we have seen over 90% user adoption across organizations using the Liveletics platform, which is absolutely phenomenal.
that is phenomenal. I think that, and the best part about it, of course, is true, is that single source of truth, right? Everybody's operating off the same data. Everybody's looking at the same numbers,
Right.
the same metrics. And what I also really like about that is that those metrics, they can be those you can inside of the C-suite, they can develop those objectives. They can develop what those KPIs need to be in order for them to move strategically to where they want to go. So everybody
Mhm.
is truly rowing in the same direction when they're all sharing the same data.
Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
I wanted to talk a little bit about how Livelitics might help teams shift from lagging to leading indicators. I heard you talk in the past about these indicators. You
Mhm.
know, how tell me what that might look like, in practice for a brand operator.
Sure, absolutely. So, lagging indicators, again, it will tell you what already went wrong, like last week's sales or last month's
History.
sales or
It's
last quarter.
historical. Yep.
It's in the it's history, right? It's not. But leading indicators are the trends that you predict, right? So that's what Liveletics does, is flips by focusing on leading
Mhm.
indicators, like trends that predict what's about to happen. So let's say, for example, we have a really cool LLM solution built in where the weather and foot traffic patterns suggest a 15 to 18% drop whenever it rains or it snows, right? So let's say this coming Friday, there is heavy rain or snow that's going to come. So our patterns will suggest that, hey, there's a 15 or 18% drop in sales. Why don't you guys adjust, the labor hours, because your labor hours are going to go above, if you don't adjust your labor hours.
Right.
So you can adjust labor hours, and at the same time, it will also tell marketing to, hey, promote certain certain dishes, buy one get one, whatever it is, some more happy hour to push, on that specific day because it's going to rain, you're going to get less traffic.
Therefore, there's the leader.
Yeah,
One more to follow up on that. If a CFO or a COO is kind of on the fence or maybe feels overwhelmed by data and it is skeptical of AI,
yeah.
uh, if you were to give them some advice on like a mindset shift you would encourage them to make, how would you propose those folks rethink about their use of AI?
Yeah. And we do that on a daily basis.
Yep.
Trust me, So for the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs, what I would suggest is don't look AI as the buzzword, right? So look at it from a competitive advantage standpoint of view. So your brand is any brand is sitting on a ton of data, right?
Yep.
You have operational data, you have POS data, you have every type of data that's there. So that's a gold mine. Now, only, if you can use that to turn it into decisions, that is where, a platform like ours comes into place. So, and this is also for leaders that are very curious about their own business, right? So when they ask the why behind the numbers,
Mhm.
that why is only solved by an AI powered intelligence software provider like Livelytics when it becomes your greatest ally. So, it's just, I love to say that I've read it somewhere, don't remember where, but, it's not just data exploration, it's a decision acceleration. I just, it just stick in
Decision
my brain for
acceleration.
many years.
Yeah, absolutely. Decision acceleration. Decision fatigue is huge too.
Yeah.
I mean, these restaurant executives, the amount of decisions they have to make on a daily basis without having that level of clarity or that different angle that they might not have had before. Again, I think that it's invaluable. What is while we're talking about misconceptions or even myths,
Myths, yeah.
what might be a myth, Manon, that you would like to just see disappear with regard to restaurant data? Like I've heard I've heard you say in the past. I'm going to actually, hopefully, I won't put words in your mouth. But to me, I feel like you hear the term, "Oh, you can never have enough data." Is that true? Can you never have enough data, or I mean,
Well, data is already there. So it's never like you can never have enough data. Most operators are drowning in data,
right,
not
right,
starving from it. So that's the whole difference, right? That they have so much data, they're drowning on it. They're not starving for more data because data is already available from all these different systems. So
right,
that's the biggest myth, that hey, we don't have enough data. That's not the point at all. There is plenty of data that's out there which you can convert into actionable insights. That is the key. Instead of adding another system or instead of running another report, it's, how do I bring all these solutions, all these data points together, and how do I actually make sense about that data set? That is the key. So actionable insights is the key term, So like I would like to give one example. So let's say every operator in the morning that comes, we actually offer them a today's top action card, right?
mhm,
So the operator knows exactly what to do. So instead of just usually what operators do, they log into 5 different systems, they're looking at the reports, they're good, and then they go about their day. But there is nothing actionable that tells them, hey, what do you really need to focus on today? So just for example, voids were unusually high on store number, 14 or 18 or whatever it is. So check with that manager. Or you'll run out of your top seller by 6 p.m. So reorder now. So things like that. It will give you a daily, impact or a daily action sheet where you can work on that.
so the final question for you, okay, as we come up on time here.
Yeah.
Um, every couple of years, it feels like the point of sale systems try to reinvent themselves, right? And now the most logical reinvention, of course, is trying to duplicate, in essence, what Livelytics has accomplished being able to do, right? Point of sale always will always try to be the heartbeat of the restaurant technology stack. So they feel that as if it's incumbent upon them to create uh, essentially what Livelytics has. What is your advice to restaurant operators that are saying to themselves, well, maybe I should wait for my POS company to figure out how to do this?
Right. And yeah, we do get questions like these all the time as well, because again, POS systems are the main, solution provider for the operational side of things. But then there is a lot of different things as well. POS systems, AI powered, they can show you the data, they can show you analytics, they can, let's say, show you recommendations or even anomaly on their own data. They cannot show you, all the different things from different silos. But with Live what that's exactly what we do is we don't only show you data on the POS data side of things. We also bring the data from your enterprise back office, like Restaurant 365, your recipe management, your inventory management solutions. We partner with ADP, with Paychecks to grab your payroll information. We partner with different loyalty programs to get your customer information. So there are a lot of different solutions that we partner with, and then we bring all the data together and we show you a holistic view about how your business is performing. So that is what is critical, when you partner with a company like Livelytics, rather than just getting one singular streamlined data source, which is your POS solution provider. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. And I would also just make the argument too, where, geez, do you really, just from a risk mitigation standpoint, do you really want to go even deeper with your POS?
Right.
You want to depend on them even further and
Yeah.
be locked in even further down the road. So I think that a system like a Livelytics, and there are others out there, uh, you know, just is one more layer of, I think, protection or flexibility that gives the operator when moving in and out of different technologies and different systems. You'll
Yeah.
always be able to integrate with your data intelligence platform and not be sort of handcuffed, if you will.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, hey, this has been awesome. I'm psyched that you came back on and you were able to kind of tell us what's happening in this space, because it's really happening. It's moving.
Yep. Yep.
You guys are making this come alive, and I've worked with you and your team now. It's incredibly impressive. So I hope to have you on again as we update and we bring in some more use cases, and we can talk a little bit about some of the features that you guys are adding in your next. I know your roadmap is pretty deep.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Appreciate you bringing me on the podcast again. Hopefully, many more to come, and I'm pretty sure the Texans are gonna beat New England Patriots for
Yeah, I
sure.
don't think so, man. But
Yeah, I didn't
you
want
know
to
what?
I didn't want to say the other word, but yeah, that's gonna happen.
Let's hope it does. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. We'll have to have a little side wager.
Yeah, that would be nice. We should.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Until next time,
Yep. Thanks a
be
lot,
well.
Paul. Appreciate it.
You got it.